The EThekwini Municipality is moving ahead with the demolition and revamp of over 20 uninhabitable and dilapidated buildings in the city centre. This is part of the city's plan to revamp the area to attract tourism, which has been battered by COVID-19 pandemic. Be that as it may, the city is running into problems because some owners are refusing to be part with their buildings. Newzroom Afrika's Bonga Dlulane joins us live now. Bonga, what state are these buildings in?
Well, Ntantla, one of those buildings that are in this place is the one next to me. I'm going to ask Pilani to show you that. That's the next to one of them in the central Durban right now, in the CBD, where it's busy very much. And also it's a place where Ushaka Marine is literally opposite this building, exactly next to me. So it's the kind of issues that the minister and also the mayor wants to remove, because as you can see, next to it in Ntantla is a new building. So what the mayor is trying to do is trying to make sure all these streets, they renovate buildings, whether industrial or residential or ones that are for businesses, that they move from what they are right now. These current states here behind me, the ones that dilapidated, abandoned basically. Some are even drug havens and also criminal activities, and they house homeless people too. So the issues that the mayor is trying to bring in is that they want to refurbish buildings such as these ones, the ones that they can, and the ones that they can't, they must be demolished. But as you said in that intro, you mentioned that they're running into problems because some owners have vanished. So they want to trace those owners. So they come to some sort of agreement as to how they make sure that they take this project forward, to work with them to rehabilitate these buildings. If not in Ntantla, then they're going to go to court and try to get these buildings condemned or reappropriated to the city, and then they can decide whether or not they are in a state to be refurbished or they must be demolished, and a new structure will come in here so that they can attract tourism, because it's literally in the city center.
Now, Bonga, judging by the poor state of those buildings, it does give a sense that they are in urgent need of a facelift. At this point, do we know when these projects are expected to get underway?
It was initiated in 2019, Ntantla, this project, and it's supposed to get underway. But as you know, with all government projects, there's always red tape. There's always issues of negotiating with the people who own them, because one of the major problems they're running into is that these buildings are owned by private owners, so they might be demanding more money than they're worth, or it's hard to trace them to try to find out they're willing to sell back their city, or they're playing hardball, saying that they don't want to part with their buildings. They want the city to refurbish for them, and then they can enter into some sort of lease agreement. So the project what the mayor is very passionate about, spoke to us about on Friday, saying that he wanted to go in by now. He wanted to be part of the recovery of the city in trying to attract tourism, because tourism has suffered greatly here because of COVID-19. So the measure started in 2019, but there's been very little to go, because the refurbishing of over 20 buildings will take time, and we still need a date as to when he hopes to complete it. But the mayor has said that he wants to fast-track this project so that the tourism industry can recover when COVID-19, if or when it does end.
Now, in all fairness, maybe the owners of these properties are weighing their options and seeing if they can get a higher price if they sell it to maybe private entities. Has anything been said about this?
Well, that's the case that the mayor wants to say when he's saying they want to trace some of these owners, because some of them, he says, his words, are ducking and diving in terms of coming to the table and saying what they're willing to let the buildings go for. But another interesting point, Ntantla, is that some of them have been abandoned completely, and now they house drug dens, they house criminal activity, and then there's also issues of whether or not, if they to do this, they have to do it legally. So you remember that legal situation in South Africa takes some time, and that's why the mayor says they want to avoid that as much as possible. But if they are forced to action, then they'll go to court as a last resort and try to get the court to condemn the buildings, and then the city can reappropriate them, and then they'll decide whether or not to demolish or revamp them. But the first option is that they want to revamp them so that they can be some sort of business attraction, and then that can attract tourism in this area, because it's literally places close to the beach, to hotels, to restaurants, and then the next building you see, it looks abandoned and condemned and uninhabitable. So that's the kind of contrast the mayor says he wants to get away from. He wants this whole area, the city center, to reflect a Durban that's moving into the future.
Who would have imagined 27 years into democracy, we are still seeing these poor state of buildings and dilapidated buildings in many parts of our country. That's our reporter Bonga Dlulane out in EThekwini.